Shout out, the Connects. Luis Guzman. Don't ever go, never leave my side. Passion's all I have, courage is my drive. And if I lost you, I would lose it all together. I wouldn't have
Welcome to I'm an Artist, Not a Salesman podcast, where we highlight the journey of entrepreneurs and business people alike to showcase that every light and dark moment create a beautiful piece of art. This is episode 37. I am your host, Luis Guzman. My guest today is the owner and proprietor of Cristos Steaks at 1290 Broad Street in Bloomfield, New Jersey. It is dubbed the place with the best cheesesteaks in New Jersey. His unique approach to a simplified menu will have you craving his sandwiches again and again. From the new school with Cooper Sharp cheese to the old school with Cheese Whiz to the North Shore beef that sells out within hours, served with gloves and all. His sandwich spot is the go-to for the epic cheat meals and quality homemade breakfast and lunch with a nostalgic butcher shop aesthetic that screams this place has amazing food. With unique hours of operations, it simply reads 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. or like what happened today, till you sell out. People have traveled all over to try his cheesesteaks, and his humble personality only further proves that this business owner cares just as much about his customers as he does about the quality of his product. Only 1 year in, Philadelphia, move over. Waking Steaks straight out of Jersey is here. Cristo, welcome to the show, brother.
Thank you so much. I did not expect that. Thank you so much.
Man, listen.
I appreciate that.
Listen, let me tell you, I mean, the people that are listening to this are going to hear this now. I went to your place about 2 weeks ago. Me and my wife were big cheesesteak foodies, and we got there right after the gym, so we were starving. It was probably like 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, it's a good
Let me
time.
tell you something, brother. And we travel to Philly, frequently. The best cheesesteak I ever had, period.
Thank you.
Period, man.
Thank
And
you.
I mean that sincerely. I'm not just
Thank you.
trying to gas it up because you're here. Like, my wife was ecstatic about the cheesesteak. So again, man, kudos to what you're doing, brother.
Thank you.
And kudos to the business. I'm excited to hear your story. You know
It
what
it means a lot to us that we get it right. You
I mean?
know,
You guys are doing it. You guys are doing it.
I'm on the grill myself, and I like it because it holds me accountable. And I tell people if it's not right, if it's not what you expected, if it's not what you wanted, let's figure out a way to get it right. And,
Exactly.
and I know I could get it right for everyone as long as I know what they're looking for.
And it seems like you care, which is important. A lot of people don't care.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I always start off the podcast with the same question for every guest. So I'm going to ask you the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Who is Cristo?
It's no deeper than a dude that likes to make sandwiches.
That's it. Is
You
that
know that?
always passionate with sandwiches?
I never wanted to make $1 million doing it. I just want to make 1 million sandwiches.
I love that, man.
It'd be, it's just when you feel something, when you like something, when you actually enjoy it. Some people see small things like this, like making lunch a hobby, home cooking. I just always saw it as the road I wanted to take was cooking, and then you kind of got to find your lane within that journey. And for me, it was between a piece of bread.
I love that, dude. Have you? Where did you learn this passion for cooking? Is it something that was taught by your dad, your mom, or when did you realize as a young Cristo that you wanted to do this for a living, or that you had a passion for it?
My parents are both excellent cooks.
Nice.
My father's from Sicily. My mother's
Oh,
from
sweet.
Colombia.
Wow.
So we
Best
got
of
some, we got some, different flavors going on, but, they always cooked everything well. And I think, it kind of makes you appreciate food when you know good food, and then you go out and you have bad food.
That's so true.
Or food
That's
that
so
doesn't
true.
live up to your expectation. It could say, pasta and meatballs, but it's not pasta and meatballs like at home.
Correct.
For
Correct.
some people, it's better than what they have at home. For some people, it's on par. And for some people, it's, I don't want to go out for pasta and meatballs.
I see what you mean, man. Yeah, it's true, man. It comes down to quality, right? It comes down to ingredients and the way it's formulated. There's really an artistry to the whole world of culinary arts.
Yep.
And I think a lot of times people regurgitate crap.
Right.
back and forth. But you put a nice aesthetic,
Right.
you put a fancy menu, and people just, they're sheep, they come.
Yeah.
But you, my friend, have figured out how to keep it old school.
Yeah.
And bring so much richness to the food. Because
Yeah.
I mean, the food was so good.
Something's got to make up for the wobbly tables. I always say, so, we try to make up for it in other places with being the food. And, whether you decide to dine in or take it to go, we try to make it the best quality product that we can.
I love that. And I think, there's a sense for me when I go out and eat, I kind of like when the tables wobble.
Yeah.
I kind of like when it doesn't look too fancy.
Right.
Because I've always gone to fancy places and I was never fully impressed.
Right.
But when I go to a place like yours where you walk in there and it breathes New Jersey.
Yeah.
Like you walk in, you see the stickers on the wall, the Taylor ham sign,
Yeah.
the Cooper cheese and the butcher glass. The chalkboard menu.
Yeah.
It just feels like New Jersey.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and you guys are so cool.
Thank you.
Everybody's so welcoming. So, I mean, was it intentional to have that type of look in the place?
That's kind of the person that I am.
Down
I'm
to
a
earth.
dude that just raised in Jersey. I feel like I know what people like here because I'm from here. I'm not, trying to push something from, I do push some things from far off lands, but the foundation of what we do is walking in and asking for a breakfast sandwich, a cheesesteak, and
Gotcha,
they're
man.
just, just hearty meals. And Bloomfield, where I landed, is just there's a lot of salt of the earth right there, and people that work blue collar jobs and they want to get full for their buck. They want to have a good meal and they deserve a good meal for working hard. And, that's what I try to bring them. That's the game plan. It's just, I want people to walk in and feel like they're kind of at home. There's a radio on, maybe it's some tunes, maybe it's not, maybe you get a chair, maybe you're taking it to go this time. It doesn't really matter. It's coming in the same box either way. So,
Exactly.
it's just kind of, that's just the easygoing, attitude that I kind of have towards things. As far as that goes, it's kind of the place I want to pop in and out of. But then we take the food dead seriously.
Well, that's the key, right? Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense because I like the laid back approach you have, but I feel like when it comes to being in the kitchen, you're a totally different monster. Are you can't be laid back in the kitchen when you're making these sandwiches, right? You're like, I picture you like, with the bandana wrapped around your head, like, the apron, you're cutting stuff up, you're throwing stuff in the grill, you're yelling.
Yeah, I'm an intense dude.
Yeah,
but
that's what I'm talking about.
I can keep it light. Sometimes the guys in back, a ticket comes in for one sandwich, and I'm going and I'm cooking it hard. It's always go time. I'm paying attention to it. Like one sandwich, like it's 20 sandwiches, like you got a full board or one person. We're a lunch business and people want to come and they want to go and they want some lunchtime to themselves, and, we try to respect that and get people in and out as best as we can. But the intensity, I feel like, has always got to be there when you're in the kitchen. The second you start slipping, that's how you get hurt. You stop paying attention to the things that are around you, and that's how the product suffers. It's
true.
It can't be, all fun and games, but we have our jokes and
you got to keep it light too. But at the end of the day, you got a business to run and you got to make sure you're servicing the client with an amazing product,
Right.
which is what you do. Do you have did you go to culinary school?
No culinary school.
Tell me how you got into the business. Like, walk me back to as a young Cristo to where you are now.
I was 13.
Okay.
My dad came home and said, "You start work with your brother at the pizzeria down the street this week."
Wow, old school, man.
And that's the day work started.
Get out of here. So you had no say in it. You're like, all right, I guess I'm going to work.
No, it wasn't an option,
That's awesome.
And it was to make money for me. Do you want money? You're 13. Now you're going to start wanting to, you're riding bikes with the boys. You want this, you want that. You want to, go out and do things. You need money to do it. This is how you make it. You go to work,
Cool,
and
man.
my brother's 2 years older than me. So,
Okay.
He did it around the same age. They came home one day and said, "You started the pizzeria down the street." My dad went out with to get a pizza and came back with a job, for my
Look at
brother.
that. That's so freaking cool, man.
And then we both worked there side by side for like 7 years from when I was 13 to about 20. Just that pizzeria counter guy life,
Get out.
working for old school Italians. If you can't do everything, you can do nothing,
Look at
so
that. Yeah.
if it's quiet, go roll the dough. If it's busy, go make the sandwich that got ordered. If the oven's full, make sure you're turning the pies, and you just kind of learn to cover all the bases, and I think it helps, sometimes the people that train you are the ones that really matter in the, just the person you become in the kitchen.
That's so true, man, because I had a guy on here a couple years back, Santillo. He has a very big pizzeria in Elizabeth. He's old school. Al Santillo, he said the same exact thing. He said, whoever I bring into this pizzeria, they have to know everything or know nothing.
Yeah.
But I think that's kind of cool because in this generation, a lot of the old school mentality stuff is kind of thrown out the window.
Right.
Where it's like everybody gets a participation award, everybody gets rewarded.
Yeah.
Like, dude, we come from the era where it's like you had to earn your right to get anything.
Right.
Nothing was given.
Yep.
Your dad came home and was like, oh, you want to ride bikes? You want to have this? You got to go pay. You got to go pay for this and that. Go get a job. I got you a job.
Exactly.
That's it. So having your dad instill old school Sicilian, just like, hey, listen, get you and your brother out there, go learn how to do something, make some money. Was that like the beginning of this idea that you wanted to do something in the food business?
Once I enjoyed it immediately. Yeah.
Also, it was instant because some kids hate their jobs.
No, I dug it.
You weren't like that?
I dug it. No.
Sweet.
I dug it. And if you really want to get good in a job, be like 13 and have your 15-year-old brother training you. Because you'll find out real quick when you mess something up.
Seriously. And he's not going to just she's not going to sugarcoat it.
Yeah.
He's going to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
That's funny, man.
But I liked it. Even with that, even when it was like, this is brutal, it was like, this is brutal, but this is cool. It's a good, a good time. And you just enjoy it. Something inside you says like, this is what I like to do.
That is so cool, man. So wow. So you know how to run a pizzeria pretty well then.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Everyone asks me why not a pizzeria.
I was gonna ask you the same thing. Why steaks, not pizza?
It's just a lot more hands, even a lot more stations always going, and there's plenty of them out there, and I can almost go anywhere and have a pizzeria I like in the area. And most people in Jersey can. So it's the same reason we stay away from a pizza steak. Actually, we don't do a pizza steak because everyone's going to tell me, I'm in North Jersey. Yeah, everyone's going to compare my red sauce to either the deli they've been going to for 50 years or their grandmother's.
Undying battle. Yeah, it's true. It's an undying battle, bro. So my grandma can make this way better. What's wrong with you?
So I stay away from Italian food because in Jersey, the pool is deep and there's plenty of it out there. And, so...
That's it's great that you make that point because I didn't even think about it. Like, there's not really a lot of good cheesesteak places in Jersey.
It's a South Jersey thing.
Yeah, like Philly-ish. Right, like the border. Yeah.
And I was telling you before we even began, where I live in the Brunswick area, I can get to Philly about as quick as I can get to almost to Bloomfield on most days.
This is totally true. Yes.
So I get some Philadelphia sensibilities in my area, with using a better product, real steak, not your pizzeria cheesesteak, using a better cheese, Cooper, not your pizzeria provolone, and that's kind of where my head was at. It's just that it took me time to find a spot. I had settled on cheesesteaks, but I was thinking where are they going to land, and Bloomfield is the place that I found.
And Bloomfield, like I told you off camera, Bloomfield is like a nice little hub. It's like right in between Central and North. It's like a lot of commuter traffic. You're off the Parkway,
right?
So there's a lot of busyness going on. You have a light in front of your place, so people stop, they see what's going on. So I think you picked a great location, and I think the product itself, I mean, it speaks for itself. It's an amazing product. But you know what, though, Cristo? You can have an amazing product. You can have an amazing location. Doesn't mean nothing unless you really know how to be a good person to the client and how to give a person an experience. And I think that's something you guys do very well because you feel welcomed when you go into your place. Excellent. And, I walked in there and didn't know what to expect, shook your hand, and you're like, hey, sorry, I got to roll. And you just started rocking. And like literally, me and my wife are sitting down eating and just like one after another. And I live by this phrase, success leaves clues. So when you are successful at something, you don't have to tell nobody. Like, people are going to tell you how great this is. You built this, and it's only been a year, which
Yeah.
is I want to dig into that.
Okay.
But I'm so amazed that you've only been open for a year and the response has been immaculate, to say the least.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, so first, how does that feel for you being open only a year? I mean, February 2024.
Yeah.
So we're just over a year. We're in March now. So let's just say 13 months.
Mm-hmm.
So how does that, first of all, did you even expect that type of success?
No.
That early?
On no level did I. I heard, like, I looked into my Bloomfield research and I got vibes that it was a small town and everyone knows everyone kind of town, because it is only like 5-6 miles long and very narrow.
That's crazy. Yeah,
but
I
it's
didn't know that.
dense and there's a lot of people there.
It's
and
very populated.
And yeah, that just turned into sorry, I'm completely lost track with me real quick.
Dude, it's okay. Sorry. This is not live, bro. You can go right back in it, dude.
Yeah,
it's all
sorry.
good.
What was it again that we were saying?
We were talking about how dense it was, and even though it's 6 miles long, it's very dense and populated.
No, the general question was
so how are you shocked about how it took off so fast?
Oh, right. Yeah, so I thought I was opening up in a very small town. But social media is its own beast these days.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
And I've been on social media shout out to Jersey Sandwich Joints. Okay.
All right, Jersey Sandwich Joints, what's up?
Yeah,
Shout
Guy
him out.
Madsen, you know, he lives right in the area, right in Clifton by me.
Sweet.
But social media is, you know, a hell of a thing. And the night before I opened, I was just afraid that no one's going to walk in that door on day one. And I shot out a couple of social media posts in what I felt like were the right places. And I woke up to a big response of people saying, let's see, because the transplants, they're brutal. The Philly transplants in North Jersey,
no joke. Yeah.
they say, let's see. You're just every other cheesesteak shop that we've chewed up and thrown out, you know, and said, this isn't a cheesesteak too. So it was a test. It was like it was people coming in their Eagles jerseys.
Stop.
Okay.
Come on.
In their Phillies hats, they let you know. When they walk in the door, they let you know. And weekend number one was our 2 main sandwiches, old school, new school.
Yep.
Just every ticket. Old school, new school, old school, new school, old school, new, just every single order. And it was people saying, let's go. Let's see if you could hit these. You know, you want to have a small menu. Let's see if you're hitting it, right? If it's doing right, and all of a sudden, you know, they came back, and they posted in Jersey Sandwich Joints. I went to that guy's place that posted yesterday.
Wow,
I'm from Philly. It's legit, you know, and things like that, and that's just a snowball from there. It all just started from being up late, first day of school nerves. Before opening.
Damn, I can imagine.
You know,
that
and just,
fear
is anyone going to show up?
Wow.
What if Bloomfield could care less about a cheesesteak? Like it's a small menu.
It's a small menu.
But
dude, you literally had the courage to just say, you know what? I'm going to bet on myself.
Yeah.
And that's a hard thing to do. A lot of people, they spend their whole lives thinking like, you know, should I go in? Should I go in?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's like, they end up doing something they hate for the rest of their life.
Right.
But you, my friend, chose to say, you know what, block out the noise. Yeah, I'm scared to death.
Right.
But hey, at least I'm gonna try it and see what happens.
Right.
And look what came out of it.
One of the things I say actually is like just to myself in my head sometimes I say religion is in myself. And just like
nice.
Believe in me. Just like that's it.
I like that.
Like
man.
I'm not anti for it. I don't go around discussing religion, but sometimes you can look up to the sky in the moment that you need to, but sometimes you gotta just look in the mirror, and that's the only one there, you know. And
it's you versus you.
And I have my wife and I have my family, but like, you know, I just gotta look in the mirror and say like, I want to do this. I want to do this for me. I want to do this for everyone, and the only person that's going to help me is always going to be me. You know, because things can happen to people, you know, even the most reliable of people can fall through. And I'm lucky that I have a lot of reliable people who have not fallen through on me. But in the end, there's always myself. True. And it's part of why I cook the cheesesteaks and I'm on the grill, because I'm accountable.
Absolutely.
Someone comes back and says, I didn't like this. I made it.
You made it.
It's on me.
You can't blame anybody else.
No one else to blame.
Yeah.
If we're open, I'm there. That's what I always tell people. We're open.
That's
I'm
awesome,
there.
man.
Let me know. And you know.
that's a very like you're taking ownership, right? Because a lot of times people open businesses, whether it's food or whatever. Oh, the owner's not here, or I'll let the owner know, and that sucks, man. Like I like going to a place where I can shake the hand of the owner,
right,
and say, "Man, great job,"
Thank you.
It shows to me the care that you have because. And listen, God bless you, man. Like if you start to really blow up, you might have to hire someone else to cook. I mean, if that's but right now, you putting in the grinding hours, cutting your teeth, really caring about the product. I mean, that is what matters.
Yeah.
That's what people pay their hard-earned money to go to your establishment because they see you working as hard for that to make them happy.
Right.
There's a sense of like, how can I say it? Like pride in that, but for the customer, it's a sense of feeling satisfied that they're paying for something that they know it's worth dollars to donuts.
We find a wild camaraderie amongst the guys and ladies and just people who manage to dine in sometimes. And it's almost, although it's at separate tables, it's almost a countertop vibe.
Yeah.
Where, what'd you get? Like they see someone else get something. A North Shore hit this person's table. A Big Mac chopped cheese hit this person's table. A couple of new schools. And they're like, what are the corn nuggets? I didn't even know about those.
Cheese fries.
So, people end up saying, oh, I've been here and I'm trying all of them. Right now I'm on the roast beef section. Right now I'm trying different chickens, and
that's awesome,
and people talk to each other and they come up with ideas sometimes and they get back to us on them. But there's like a camaraderie sometimes amongst the customers and a lot of Grateful Dead fans, a lot of Deadheads. We play a lot of the Dead, and that always brings people together. And it's just like we said before, just lighthearted in front, but try to keep it serious and back to to really balance it all out, kind of.
Well, food is communal as it is. It's all about community. Like you get people together, they break bread, literally breaking bread, and people. We're it's in our like ancestry to celebrate things with food.
Right.
So all great moments are celebrated by some type of feast. And with you, it's no different. It's just you're connected to these clients, these customers of yours in one way or another, whether they're, taking a break from work on their lunch. Now you're a part of their life.
Right.
Or they bring food back to the office for their coworkers. Now you're a part of their lives. Or, the father's taking his 8-year-old son for the first time to have a cheesesteak. That your story, Wake and Steak, it's going to forever be embedded in people's lives. Like it transcends food.
Thank you.
And I think what you're doing, man, it really is going to leave like a staple in not just Bloomfield, but in people's lives.
Right.
Because food, it's so close to people's hearts and it makes people feel good.
Thank you.
And when you add that element of service and that element of care, my friend, you got a business here that's going to last you forever, brother. Seriously, man.
Thank you. A couple of things that a couple of customers have gotten back to us about, like just private DMs, and I don't even like to say them almost, but someone messaged me and said, "Dude, this is generational, man. I'm going to tell my kids about this."
Wow,
and
you see, I didn't.
And he said they're gonna. He's like, they know about it because we go there, and he's like, but I feel like they're going to remember it. And shout out to my buddy E, who's a very, very long time customer.
Shout out E.
He has a place called Relief up in Newton, Newton, yeah, up there. But he had a sweet little baby girl, Nora. She's about 6 months now. And him and his wife came in the day that they could from getting out of the hospital.
Wow.
And we made sure that buffalo chicken was ready and his new school and fresh hot corn nuggets for the table. And, and it's seeing things like that I never pictured. I never pictured it. I thought, I thought I was going to open a takeout joint almost. Tables came with the place, so we kept them.
Why not?
So we kept the tables. To me, like I used to work in an office at one point in my life, and I stared out the window all day thinking about lunch. Yeah,
you used to work in an office. You don't even strike me as an office dude.
I know.
We got to get into that when you're done here. But go ahead.
Yeah.
So you're looking out the window.
Yeah, I'm looking out the window every day, thinking about what's for lunch, and after lunch, I'm thinking about what's for lunch tomorrow, or how was lunch. How can lunch be better tomorrow? So I started saying you only get one lunch, and and that's when I realized it was time to go back, to almost my world. I was having a great time. I was doing nonprofit spay neuter, always remember spay neuter your pets, and
Nice.
like Bob Barker used to say. But yeah, I was doing nonprofit. I did that for 7 years after the pizzeria, just to see like what else is out there in the world,
Oh wow, so you really dabbled.
Yeah,
in different, okay.
Well, it was also about like making money to get where I want to go.
Gotcha.
It was like I got to make money to open something. No one's going to hand me anything. So I bounced around to see other opportunities and stuck around places. I was there for 7 years. 7 years in a pizzeria, 7 years at the animal clinic, and that's already 14 years down of working.
Wow,
so but just doing whatever you can to save for the place. But yeah, it was. You get one lunch and it sucks when you hate your lunch.
That's
at
the
the end
worst,
of the day.
right?
Yeah.
No, people. I'm happy you brought that up. No one talks about that. Like, dude, I feel like death
Too much
sometimes.
hype on dinner.
Yeah, seriously, yo, lunch is honestly lunch is underrated as like being the best meal of the day. Dinner's cool, but dinner's more like a relaxed vibe. I'm not gonna finish it all. Lunch is like I'm here to eat.
Lunch, yeah.
I'm here to rip
because you might miss breakfast.
Yeah,
and then here comes lunch. And you might, have a late day, and maybe you see dinner's not even in the plan, but you end up having this late lunch.
Yeah.
And now and then you're good. So
true,
if
man.
the right meal can really take you through the day.
It's true. When you have a bad meal, it's like you become angry, bitter.
Oh yeah.
It's like it just didn't hit the spot right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, dude, I feel you,
That's
man.
what I just think about.
That's
is
funny.
how you don't want to let people down for that one lunch that they have, And I tell the guys up front that we have different crowds. Weekdays and weekends are wildly different for us. And on the weekdays, I tell them, you see a guy sit down and put down his phone, throw in an earpiece. That's it. He doesn't want to talk. He wants the sandwich. Yeah. He wants half hour of whatever show he couldn't watch in peace at home, maybe, you know what I mean? Or just, not his boss in his ear, he just wants that time to himself. And, we try to read the room also. I tell them,
Absolutely,
and
man.
if kids come in, grab the high chair, put some tables together. If, when you see a family, and let them be a family. If someone's facing the counter and making the banter, all day, it's okay. I tell my guys up front, read the room, and sometimes it's just a smile that they want to walk up to. People want to know like someone's there to help them if they need.
That's actually a great way to.
I need a lid for my coffee. I don't see one. I need to wear the napkins, the hot sauce, the whole. Just be there and know that you're available, and that makes people, happy. You don't need to linger. There's no hovering, things like that. And that's it,
It's totally true. I mean, when I was there, I wanted to get the mayo. I was, hey, where's the mayo? Oh, it's over here. Got the mayo, no issues. Put the mayo on my cheesesteak. They brought the fries. It was delicious. Like they're not hovering. But they're also it's weird. It's like your guys are not hovering, but they're aware of what's going on.
Yeah.
And I think that's key because again, it's like you don't want to be smothered, but you want to feel special.
Right.
You don't want to feel like you're nobody.
Right.
I've walked into places and been ignored for 15 minutes straight.
Yeah.
Like I'm a statue.
Right.
So I don't appreciate that. But then also to the point about the guy with his headphone on, like I could tell you're a married guy, by the way, because you understand this. Like us as married men, you kind of want that 30 minutes to yourself. You don't want to be.
Sometimes it's the only 30 minutes.
It's the only thing you have because
it's the only 30 minutes.
If you're a manager and you're on a break and then you got conference calls, then you got to drive home in traffic, then you got to talk to your wife when you get home and take care of the newborn baby, and then you got to throw out the garbage, and then you got to blah, blah, blah. It gets wild.
Yep.
So that 30 minutes of peace they're getting with the delicious cheesesteak.
Yeah.
They're so happy that they don't need any extra service.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? But you understanding that is also kind of like the method to your madness, why you're so great at what you do.
Thanks.
Seriously, dude, because you understand human psychology. Human psychology is a real thing. Like you got to really know what people want and how they want it. Because if you don't, you're going to get angry customers. And listen, you're not going to make everybody happy.
Yeah.
There's going to be one or two in there that, it just, it wasn't cooked too good or the bread was stale. It happens, right? But it shouldn't happen all the time.
Right.
If you're at a 98, 99% success rate, the 1% don't really affect you. And if anything, they make you better.
And we tell people we'll correct them. We've taken care of plenty of people. I don't mean to say screw ups left and right, but I mean to say that if people have reached out and said they were unsatisfied, underwhelmed, not what they expected, maybe it even traveled bad. You know what?
Yeah.
I say, if they say, oh, it got to me, it was garbage. Hey, sometimes it's Uber because now we're on the delivery services,
Yes.
this and that.
Yes.
Say, come on down, man.
We'll take care of you.
Come on down
Yeah.
and dine in on one. Take the 20 minutes, call, tell me what time you're coming in. We'll make it 5 minutes after that time and enjoy a freshie, you know, see,
awesome.
and then see what it's about. And then we'll blame Uber together. You know?
But you see, that's like the old school mentality that a lot of businesses don't do. Like you're legit just like humble, hat in hand.
Yeah.
Guys, my bad. I'll make it up for you. Like, but that's how it was when we were kids.
Yeah.
Like you'll go to restaurants and you'll go to like the local watering hole, whatever. And you know, your dad knew the owner. And people took care of you. People took care of your kids. It was communal, you know? So you're just following the generational, you know, path that your dad and your mom showed you.
Yeah.
So, and that's an amazing thing that I think we're in a microwave era where it's just like, what's the hottest thing on Instagram? The food 9 times out of 10 tastes like trash. But you know what? They got 1 million followers and that's why they're successful. But you have grown this so organically.
Thanks.
And I think that's because you're sticking to your guns of the old school method.
Yeah.
Time to bring the old school back.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Do you feel me?
Yeah.
Does that make sense to you?
Yeah. There's a point where you got to be stubborn. You know, if you took everyone's recommendation, everyone would open a diner, you know, and I'd have breakfast and I'd be there till 9 p.m. and prices would be inflated because now I have to have 10 types of omelet, you know, and
that's true.
For me, it was just this small menu is kind of like part of that mentality. It just showed people like, it's going to be tight hours. It's going to be a tight menu, you know, but that's just part of that tight hours, tight menu is also almost concentrating the efforts. You know, it's just, we're going to work so hard to be able to serve the best possible for this amount of time. And that's kind of how I've always looked at it. But it's, you know, what people see is our open hours are so far from the amount of hours we work, the whole team, you know, and, you know, there is another guy in back with me and he does some chicken and he started working on chopped cheeses and such like that. So I am having, you know, someone grow with us, but yeah, it is an old school mentality, kind of like you got to be stubborn somehow. And I'm Sicilian, so luckily, you know, it came with the deal. You know, so where
no, I love that. Yeah,
I know how to put my boots in the sand and kind of just hold my ground on some things. And I think that's one of the most old school approaches of what we do.
That's a cool thing, Chris, because what happens is people get. If you don't stand for nothing, you fall for anything, right? You're standing firm in what you believe. And I feel like people are just, you know, it's so funny you're saying this because the guy that I interviewed, Al Santillo, he said the same thing. I said, you know what artistry is? Because I'm going to make what I want and you like it. Yeah. Like, he literally said it just like that. Old school Sicilian. And he became so successful as you are now. So there is a sense of grit in that to kind of like live in your purpose of artistry.
I loved your podcast name the first time I saw it.
Thank you, man.
Because to me, it was like, name what people always say is subjective. Food, art, music, right?
Yes.
And it's like the bands that do what they want, those are the people that go places.
This is true. No, 100%.
And cooking what you know how to do. I'm not gonna roll out. What's one of the many? I mean, people ask me for even just the pizza steak.
The pizza steak. I was gonna say
pizza steak.
Yeah. I'm not doing that.
I don't, you know, to roll out something I don't do. I don't make Italian food. It's not. I didn't open an Italian establishment in that, you know, in that way, shape, or form. So, you know, it's subjective, and sometimes you got to accept that you're not the place for people.
This is please repeat that.
I have a seated role, and sometimes you are not the place for people.
1,000%.
You know,
I agree with that.
I'm sorry to that diverticulitis crowd that gets so mad at me online sometimes. My breakfast has poppy seeds. My lunch has sesame seeds. It's all good. And those are the breads that I felt worked best with my food. And that my food, my art is what I have to offer. And maybe it's the place for you. Maybe it's the place for you, your favorite. Maybe it's your favorite go-to, maybe when you're in this area, or your favorite go-to when you're in all of North Jersey or whatever it might be. You know, I don't try to be the best in the world. I just try to be the best at what I can do. That's it. That's all I'm aiming for. So when I put it out, this is my art. Maybe you like it, maybe you don't, you know, and in the box, it might be a Jackson Pollock.
Yeah.
You know, people say to me, it ain't pretty. It ain't pretty. And I say, but it's my, you know, it's my
yours.
art, you know.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
And that's, you know, what I know how to do. And hopefully it hits somebody's palate, you know, and you got to accept that as much as you aim for your crowd or your demographic or whatever you think you might, you also have to accept that there are people that are not inside of that bubble.
And that's okay.
Yep.
You know, you're spinning a lot of gems right now because it is so true. Like, I'm thinking about when you said earlier that you were so scared the night before you opened. And
First day of school.
Yeah, dude. Like, what am I gonna wear? And as an artist, you know, your biggest thing is creation, right? And how you evoke emotion in somebody with your creation. In your particular lane of creation, it's satisfaction by feeding people,
right?
But people have to understand, to be an artist, there's a sense of vulnerability that goes with that. And there's a sense of risk.
Oh, yeah.
And a sense of fear. So you were able to be vulnerable. You were able to, like I said earlier, put your feet in the sand, plant it, and say, listen, man, if I fail, if I succeed, I don't care. I'm going on my shield here.
Yeah.
I'm going to go out riding out. And you know, to me, it's very empowering because there's people listening to this podcast right now that are like on the fence about starting their business. What would be your direct response to them to get them off the couch?
Yeah, it's gonna hurt your feelings sometimes. It is. Yeah. It's gonna hurt your feelings sometimes. But the truth is, one of the deepest things that I think of all the time, like just absolute, a core thought for me is, how tall does a tree grow? And do you know how tall a tree grows?
I don't know.
And we're talking lemon tree to pine tree. Every single one of them will grow to their fullest potential. Every single one. That's it. It doesn't decide one day it's done. It's going to, you know, it's not you buy this tree and it's done at this, or it's fullest potential, you know, and, you know, get ready to put some roots in the ground. And sometimes, man, someone's going to come and carve something into that tree and it's going to hurt, you know, and it could just be a bad review on a bad day that you knew you had, and whatever it might be. But, you know, just let them limbs grow, man. You gotta get off the ground. You gotta get off the couch. You gotta look in that mirror. And, you know, you say it's you, and, you know, you plant this seed, plant it in your head, plant it in your heart, and then go plant it in the ground somewhere where you find the spot for you, and you stand there. Whether people are going to kick down your door because they love or hate you, just be there. Just be there, man. Man. Ivory. I don't believe in the ivory tower, you know, so just be ready to, you know, to be there. Just like a tree would be. Trees don't move around the park, man. You know,
they stay firm.
Dude, you go to the park and they're
there,
you know,
and they are hard. If you run into them.
Yeah.
Wow, what a beautiful. I've never heard somebody articulate that so well like you just did. Like, that's a beautiful analogy, man. You got to be the tree. Yeah. You got to be the tree, because, you know, you think about it. It's so many different dynamics you could take that. Like the root, it's rooted in something solid. It has to grow to its full potential. Yeah. There is no 50-50 on this. Right. So, you know, going to a business, I gotta be successful. Failure is not an option. No. Right? So having that mind state of the tree, oh my God, it's like I wake up every day want to run into a brick wall. Yeah. Because you have that mentality that you know you can't fail at that. Right. That's a freaking awesome way to. That's a really nice analogy. Wow, I'm gonna use that one, guys. Yeah. Can I steal that one? Yeah,
go for it.
That's
man.
a good one,
good. You know, just the way, I don't know, just the way I think sometimes. You know, it's just there isn't always a way out. You know, and sometimes your back is against the wall, but you put yourself there, and you know, just look in the mirror and know that it's you. You got it, and you can be the make or break in your business. It's not the employees that you had do this or didn't do that or called out or anything like that, because you're there. Even recently, as recent as since your visit, I installed 2 kiosks.
Nice.
And
okay.
It's like Wawa style. You
Okay,
can walk
that's
up and,
awesome.
Sometimes we have a line up front, and the 5th person is some dude that I know knows what he wants. I see that guy 3 days a week.
So you already know the drill.
He can hop over to the kiosk and whatever. And some days the front counter guy's out, and some and things happen. But I'm there. I'm there, and I'm cooking. And now if I'm in the kitchen and say no one else is there, they hit that kiosk, a sandwich is coming out because I'm there. Consistency is wildly important in every aspect of running and owning a business.
It drives success.
Yeah. Consistency is just so important. You're not going to have days off for the kids play, the daddy-daughter dance sometimes, and I close at 3. And some days I can't commit to something at 6 p.m.,
This is true.
Yeah. And, so that's all part of owning the business. Never look to the other people, no matter what you pay them, no matter what they take from you, what you give them, anything like that. It's always comes down to you.
This is so true, man. And it's so rewarding, right? To actually do. See, I believe that you got to and I do it by me personally in my life. I like to do hard things. Like even today, I woke up at 4:45 in the morning, went to the gym at 6. I know I have an interview tonight.
Right.
I got to be on top of my game. I did about 6 or 7 appointments before I saw you.
Okay.
I went home. I did it's it doesn't stop.
Yeah.
But I love that because I want to finish my day feeling complete.
Yeah.
I can't remember the last time I had free time to be bored.
Right.
And that is a scary thing to be in. I'm not 19 anymore.
Right.
It's cool when you're 19 or 20. I'm just gonna do nothing for 3 hours.
Right.
But you gotta kind of keep yourself busy and kind of create some type of pressure.
Right.
I think pressure is a privilege, right?
Yeah.
So you gotta always create that pressure and understand how to continue a successful business by being consistent.
Yeah.
You are reinvesting already by getting those kiosks because you probably noticed something and say, you know what? Let me make it easier for me. Let me make it easier for my customers.
Right.
Let me put these kiosks in.
Yeah.
Instead of just taking that and going on vacation.
Oh, yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So it's
yeah.
important to kind of look at what the business is lacking and make it better.
Right.
Or what's already good and how can we make it better?
Yeah.
Great.
And
you know what I mean?
Your reviews will tell you. Will tell you.
Well, you got amazing reviews. I'm sorry.
But you can always find something in them.
I know.
Still, I mean, aside from the bad ones, even the good ones, as I appreciate them, it's fantastic to see them. And as much as they're positive feedback, you can, people give you 5 stars. Hey, call ahead. And that's just fuel to work on the wait time. I know. And sometimes, when you do 80% of your business in 2.5 hours, a wait's a wait. Fresh steak. I'm not willing to compromise on some things. I've made a bad one and chucked it when I knew that dude was out there waiting. But what was the option? Give him the bad one? I'm so sorry, but you've already waited. Now you wait for a good one.
That's so true, man. It's true.
And it's the type of thing you gotta do sometimes. But it's just a little. It's just you gotta you gotta review the situation. And when someone says best cheesesteak I ever had, best cheesesteak I've ever had in months or years, in this area, make sure you call ahead. That's just fuel. You find the fuel for the fire of let's cut down the wait time more. Let's try harder. They loved it. There's still something to try harder on, kind of, so, but they matter. And
yes.
Do some people think that their review is the be all end all of how you run your business? Sure. And you know how to judge that when you're reading it, and are some bad reviews right? Yes. Also, Or some bad reviews. Some of my worst reviews were, this place sucks. They sold out. I couldn't get my sandwich. I'm not that hurt by those ones. I did reach out and I tried to tell them to schedule a pickup with me to most of them. But you get some people that it just wasn't for them. And sometimes I read that review and I'm like, it wasn't for them.
Yeah.
Or these are honest. Sometimes you're right. They're right. I waited too long. They are right. I got onions when I shouldn't have. That's factual, my man. That's factual.
Yeah.
And you know what? And it's on me because I'm the dude, I'm the cook, and we're back at accountability.
But we started with accountability, and I respect that about you because there's a lot of people that don't want to just say my bad or you know what, I'll try better next time.
Yeah.
And I think when you get to a point where you're unteachable, and you can't learn anything new, then you stop growing.
Right.
The tree stops growing, in your words.
Yeah.
So, you got to kind of always be teachable. Even if you've been successful, even if you've done 1 million sandwiches the right way.
Yeah.
Have the humbleness to kind of listen to people's opinions, good or bad, because it makes you better. And failure is pretty freaking cool. I'm sorry, it's cool to fail because if you're just used to winning and you don't know what it feels like to actually fail at something, you're not going to get better.
Right.
So that's good when I get and what I do for a living. That's good if I get a bad review. It makes me better. The price was too expensive. I don't like this. Okay, maybe I should reevaluate my pricing system. Whatever the case is. That doesn't mean they're wrong.
And you might not come up with a better price.
Correct. Yeah.
But you looked at your business at a moment when you might have been lacking there.
This is true.
Maybe I haven't looked at my numbers in a while. Maybe I haven't looked at the market, the competition, the whatever, and maybe you're spot on.
That's the thing, right? Because what customers do is they'll gaslight you in a review and you'll go back and, no, but that's pretty market fair value for what I'm offering.
Right.
And those right there, Chris, those are the 0.001% you will never make happy. And you can go to bed, sleep fine, knowing that.
A big part of my war in North Jersey with the cheesesteaks is people are used to their pizzeria cheesesteaks, chicken spot cheesesteaks, right?
God, those are bad.
But they come with fries.
Yeah,
they come with fries.
But still, it's like,
and people
crap.
say,
I'm sorry, it's crap.
Right. But this is their first rodeo with a real steak cheesesteak, so they don't know that you walk in Philly. No cheesesteak has ever come with fries.
Never come with fries,
it's a cheesesteak. That's the meal, right?
Yeah.
So I got, for a while it was a battle. Oh, this didn't come with fries. And but it was $13.50, but it didn't come with fries. At my other place, it's $12 and comes with fries. Give it a try. For some people, it's not for them. They want that meal. They don't care. It's okay. Hey man, Cristos isn't open past 3. If it's 9 p.m. and my buddies are hitting the chicken spot and it's UFC fight night and maybe I want a cheesesteak, hit me with that frozen cheesesteak at 9 p.m. from the chicken spot.
Because you know what you're getting.
And it came with fries. But I also expect a level of quality, of quality for that. So.
But that's not fair, right? Because it's like you got an upper echelon of quality. It's kind of like, complaining to a artisan burger joint that, McDonald's gives it to me for this price. You can't compare the two. I'm sorry. Like Chicken Shack cheesesteaks, that's bottom of the barrel compared to what you're offering.
Right.
But to the person that's uninformed as a consumer, it's expected to hear that.
Right.
But when you create the demand, and I think this is what you're really good at, and I think this is the next level for you. You created such a necessity for Cristo's Wake and Steak that now people are gonna get it. And remember, you're only 13 months into this.
Right.
Give it another 2 or 3 years and watch how that's going to just evolve because it's going to become the standard to people that know what they're getting.
Okay.
Right now, it's like, I can get the, Italian cheesesteak with fries and whatever.
Yeah.
But those people, unfortunately, are not aware of what you're actually bringing from an artist standpoint with the food.
Yeah.
But that's just, trial and error and just keep taking the hacks and the swings. And then eventually it's going to become its own thing.
Yeah.
Which I feel like in 13 months it already has been.
Yeah.
So you're definitely on the right track.
Thank you.
So that's freaking awesome, Chris.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, I want to jump real quick and find out how you made the jump to owning your own business. How creative, what was the tipping point where you said, I want to just start my own business?
It was always the goal.
It was always the goal.
It was always the goal. Work as hard as I could until I had the money to go start a business.
Oh, wow. So you've worked your entire life saving to have this business.
Yeah. When I left the animal clinic, 2017-ish, I said, this is it. Time to wrap this up and get the business open.
Nice.
In 2018, I worked 2 jobs. 7 to 3, 4 to midnight, Monday through Friday, right?
Stop. Wow, 7 to 3, yeah.
7 to 3 and 4 to midnight.
Wow, dude.
Both
What did
of
you
them, fixed gym equipment at New York Sports Club.
Get out.
And then dispatched at a high-end limousine company at night.
Wow.
Yeah, for like Merck Johnson. It was down in the Brunswick, so it was all the drug just bang, 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 bang.
Grinding.
Bang, yeah.
Grinding.
Save what you can. Opened my first deli in 2019, private deli in a corporate building in Secaucus.
Look at that.
So 5 stories in the building, about 500 people. And real quick, it was going well. They liked it. I got it from the person before me had put their kids through college. They're 35 years. I saw no reason I couldn't do the same. You know, it was a little one-man show doing fantastic. 9 months in, the pandemic hit.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So now we're in 2020. And then I bounced around kitchens just to get through it all till I could find another spot. And then I searched the mountains. I searched the shore. I searched, down by Philly. I searched, just anywhere in Jersey that was a reasonable commute.
Yeah.
And landed in Bloomfield. Just saw one day some guy posted in a sandwich group. Kind of like I'm getting old, I'm getting tired, and I got this place I got to get rid of. And I just DM'd him, said I'll be there tomorrow morning to check it out.
Look at that, man.
Yeah, because it's tough for small businesses to start. You got to always have your eyes on that opportunity.
Yes.
And you always got to be ready to pull the trigger. That's how you need to know in your heart.
The gut check.
Because it's going to come and it's going to go really fast. And it's going to go by people who have more money than you, have older established businesses than you, have deeper pockets and thicker game plans, and sometimes you're going to fall into that right spot and you got to be able to snatch it up,
Dude, wow.
And I'd been outbid by places. I'd been under, not big fish enough for other spots, and you name it, and it happens. You see a place, and by the time you call in the morning, it's spoken for, and that listing went up last night. There's people out there circling the waters all the time, looking to chase their dream. So you can't, don't enter the race with a broken leg. Just get in there and sprint. Sometimes, and that's how you got to head. Is you got to grab the opportunities when they're in front of you. So I spent 4 years, but I knew bouncing around during that 4 years. It's back to owner. And I was making cheesesteaks in the kitchen of every place I worked, better than the ones we were selling. But I don't try to convince owners to change their menus because I know better than that. I made it for me and the boys.
I love that, man.
And then, worked with this product here, worked with that product there, just working on, honing in what I want to do. And then it's time to just go your own way.
And that's exactly, and then
when you find the opportunity, you got to drop everything and do it.
I think that, you're dropping gems all over this place, brother.
Well, you have to have,
dude.
Let's not forget, as people with significant others, you have to have the person that's ready to let you do that too. Yeah,
preach, brother. Find the right woman that you can live a life with and grow with.
It could be a hot air balloon or a sandbag. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're either going to be lifted up or you're going to be dragged down.
Yeah,
and have that person, but have that plan, and have that plan that day when you can look them in the eyes and say, now I'm doing it.
Dude, you need to shout your wife real quick, bro. You gotta shout your wife,
Melissa, that's my wife, and my daughter Sunshine, and my son Atlas.
Wow.
I get to go home to them, and it's pretty cool, that
awesome,
they let
me
do what I want to do, and that's all you could ask for.
That is so awesome. I'm a big believer in what you just said, man. And my shout out to my wife Yvonne. She always listens to all these podcasts. But without her support, I couldn't be the man I am today. Nope. And I see the same thing with you. Like, you have this genuine love and support from your family and your wife.
Yeah.
And it shows because you're actually happy in what you're doing. And when you're happy in what you're doing, the amount of money will come somehow, some way, but just be happy. When you're doing something for monetary value and you just hate it, it just doesn't fulfill you the right way. You know what I mean? So I genuinely feel this from you, that you are just straight up happy with what you're doing.
Yeah.
And you wake up every day excited, and people don't understand this because they just see Cristo's wake and steak and, oh, this is like the biggest steak. You just broke down to me in the last 5 minutes in 25 years in the making, you became an overnight success. In 25 years or so, right?
Yeah.
But people would just meet you and go to your spot. Oh my God, like this guy's like,
No.
dude, this is 25 years of grind.
I've been working
you
for
know?
25 years.
I mean,
yeah,
think about
literally.
that. That's the part I like. Right?
Yeah.
You know, because did I get it right? 25 years or so? Yeah.
No, I'm 38 and I've been
you're in my
working
range,
for 25 years. And
See that?
Since my dad said at 13, work starts Monday.
Look at that. I don't know how I got that math right, but 25 years, dude. And I think people have to hear this because they think it's easy.
Yeah.
They really think it's easy. It is far from that.
Yeah.
You're going to have nights where you're going to quit.
Yeah.
You're going to have times that you get down on yourself. You don't believe. You have self-doubt creep in. But
It's
getting
the gnarliest ride out
it's
there.
crazy,
I've never
dude.
been on a roller coaster, but I'm living on one.
Man, but
literally, I'm so.
But it's just so cool that you're actually doing it. I think that's the part that people have to take away is that you're actually doing it.
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
It takes a lot of guts to just start something, but then to actually keep doing it.
Mhm.
And the fact that you're doing it, I think that is a game changer. That if everyone had your mentality of the analogy with the tree and the working all these jobs and saving, having the right woman around you, having the right family, your kids, man, I mean, you're lined up for success now.
Thank you.
You know,
Thank
so
you.
it's inspiring to hear your story,
If
dude.
you ever want to wonder if your job is for you or if you want to do what you want to do, go landscape in August. You know, go do some landscaping. A nice summer of landscape in July, August, and work hard for that landscaping paycheck, and then think to yourself if you'd like to work that hard for yourself.
Wow.
For yourself, do you want to work that hard for yourself and reap all the benefits of it? You know, and reap all, you know, deal with the hardships of it as well. So. But that's I've been there. I've been out in that heat, and I'd rather be over the stove. You know,
I'd rather take the heat of the stove than the heat of the freaking sun.
Yeah,
but that's wild, man. See, so I love your story, brother. I'm so thankful you're doing this because you know, and again, I'm very kind of I just don't invite anybody to come on the show. I appreciate they really have to evoke some type of inspiration in me. And when my brother-in-law, shout out to Eric, when he went to your place. And first of all, he said the food was amazing, obviously. But what made me want to send you a message was when he said, yo, I got there. I didn't even know that it closed at 3. I got there like at 2:30 or 2:40, whatever. Right. I can't remember the exact time.
Probably cutting
around 2:30, yeah. And he said the owner was like, oh, man, we're closing up. But you know what, man? I'll hook you guys up. What do you need, a couple sandwiches? Okay. And you did that for them.
Excellent.
And he loved it. He posted it, everything. And when he told me that story, I went on your page because I love cheesesteaks. I didn't know it was around. And I'm like, man, this looks so good. Thanks. And the guy is really cool, down to earth. That's when I sent you a message.
Thank you.
And, you track exactly how people say you are because you hit me right back. So you're a down to earth guy.
Yeah.
And for me, connection is important. And I think that's what I look for is to, interview people that I feel connected to.
Right.
And I feel connected to you because I think you're a man of that salt of the earth.
Thank you.
And you really put your grind and hustle into something. And it is turning into something so beautiful.
Thanks.
That now me being along for this ride, I'm excited for what's next.
Thank you. I appreciate
Absolutely,
it.
dude.
I
Absolutely,
appreciate it.
man.
Yeah, we just, I just want people to... people always, the DMs, when people see success, they DM you.
Yeah.
And the real estate agents and the people that want to partner, I want to open a Cristo. There'll never be anyone opening a Cristos other than someone that's worked beside me for years.
I love that.
Years.
I love that.
Because you need to know the mindset that I have from front to back of the house, the standards of quality, things like that. It's just... people want to rush success all the time.
Can't.
But just make sure that, get those roots in with consistency and know your business front to back and then see what comes along. But don't you ever forget about, why you have more opportunities. The 100%. Opportunities are going to come. But if even today, when we set this up, I said, I can't be here before this minute on the dot.
Yeah, and you were right on time.
I'm here.
And you were right on time.
I'm here until this time. That's it. And
I respected that.
And it has to be like that in every aspect of the business that you do. You gotta be on top of it. I really hope more people go out and start businesses. It's just, I think it would humble a lot of people, and it would help a lot of people realize I think community would just be stronger. If people
100%.
looked around and knew that every business they walk into is going through the same hardships as them.
Wow.
And it just, it just becomes, a beautiful thing. And in Brookdale right now, where I'm located, the barber shop next door been there 65 years. The bike shop next door has been there 65 years, right? We're across the street from a dispensary that's moving into town.
Yes, I saw that. Yep.
We're across the street from a place that nurtures new mothers, with everything that they can eat under the sun. And I think we have a really strong community growing. A great jiu-jitsu school just moved in across the street, north-south. And Brookdale neighborhood that we're in Bloomfield, is becoming a great little thriving hub of small businesses that if you come to our area and you spend money, it's going to nothing less than people with families and kids. And I think it's a great thing. And if we trade sandwiches for haircuts, for jiu-jitsu classes, for,
so cool,
everybody's, going home with a full belly, a fresh head, and
can't beat it.
and a little stronger than they
butt.
woke up, So, I think everyone should do that for their community, whether it's something, out of your kitchen, or whatever it might be. Any way you could help another business and work with each other is just something that you should do. And if there's ever a way that Cristos can work with your business, any business, make sure you reach out to us. And if it's got the roots that we want it to, and you have the values that we, the things we value, which is just taking care of the people that surround us, then I hope people reach out to us for community events and anything of the sort. We could, whatever it might be.
Awesome,
I might be
man.
just a cheesesteak shop, but we try to get involved in every aspect of our community we can. I got a little softball team. I'm excited for these two ballers. Yeah, I'm going to send them over some breakfast sandwiches, make sure my team's fueled up for some wins. And,
I love it, man.
And,
see, that's exciting to me.
Oh yeah, I never knew I'd be GM of something.
But that's cool, dude. But that goes to the blessing of what you've done for the community, and it's going to keep coming back tenfold.
Thank you.
And with expansion, I wanted to ask you real quick before we wrap up. What's your goal for expansion? Like, do you want to get into the catering side where you're doing corporate events?
Catering terrifies me because it's not my wheelhouse.
And you have a specialized
Super Bowl was a lot of grief for us. I mean, Eagles in the Bowl was a lot of grief but we managed it. It was a learning experience. We took L's that day of not having enough for the demand and turning people away, this and that. But that just turns into a W for next year.
So now you're going to prepare.
Now we know. So. But what's next for us is just, waking up tomorrow and making the best sandwiches we can. Then seeing where that gets us for Tuesday.
I love it. That's it, man. Just keep the grind going, brother.
That's it,
And do you ever think you open more than one location? You want to keep it niche?
You know what? I have other passions. I want to open a banh mi shop, man. That's
what's that?
Vietnamese sandwiches.
Oh, get out!
Yeah,
nice.
I love sandwiches, but I love lots of different types, and that's something I've been looking for like a partner on for a long time. Is a banh mi, as a banh mi shop, and but there's plenty of Mad Hatter dreams, and that's why I just. I kind of let them stay in the notes on my phone, these menus, and worry about Cristos. And maybe something comes along the right place, the right time. And you just never know who or where it's going to come from. But that's why you keep your ears open and you respond to people and you respect what people have to say to you and you take everything in. And maybe it's the opportunity for you and maybe it's not.
It's beautiful you say that because preparation, the opportunity comes when the luck and preparation meet together. You know what I mean? So you have a good understanding of that.
Yeah.
So I think wherever you decide to take the Cristos Wake and Steak brand or doing the Vietnamese sandwiches, I feel like you're going to be a success at it.
Yeah, thank you.
That's the bottom line, brother.
Thank you.
Man, you got me very inspired today. I love when I interview somebody and I walk away inspired. And let me tell you something, Chris. I mean, you have a friend here now and a definite customer for life. And I'm just so thankful for all the gems you have dropped today because I think it's going to help somebody out there that really needs to hear this. You know what I mean? So kudos to you, man. I got 2 or 3 more questions I always ask everybody at the end of the interview just to get a little bit more read on who you are as a person.
Yep.
All right. So I'm going to start with the first one. What person in your life has brought you the most influence?
The most influence Probably my mom.
I like that.
Probably
Why?
my mom. She just retired, and
Good for her.
probably like 15 years after she could have. Just I don't know,
Wow.
like especially over these last couple of years, that was just like I don't know, it keeps you just see it, and yeah, and, that's just something that I keep in mind sometimes, and you got to work. You
I
got to
love that,
work,
man.
and
She instilled that in you just like your dad did.
and it, even when you don't have to, sometimes it's going to keep you light on your feet a little and keep you going.
Like that, brother. Have you ever had any vices? And if you had, how did you overcome them?
No,
Nothing
I'm
crazy?
I'm pretty much on
Even keel?
cruise control for the most part.
Like it.
I like my beer here.
There you go. Nothing wrong with that. Little beer here and there doesn't hurt.
Little weed
Yeah.
there.
There you
little
go. I'm
beer
not mad at
here,
that
and
either.
it's just don't let everything else suffer from it. If anything
Please
else is
say that again.
if anything else is
Jeez.
suffering, then you're prioritizing the wrong things, and pull your head out, and figure it out. But
Love
no,
it.
nothing like that.
Everything in
Just-
moderation, brother.
Yeah.
Loving it, brother. Last one, and I'll end you with this. What's the last thing you have purchased that has changed your life?
Oh man, I'm a minimalist. It's almost like saying, "What's the last thing my wife ordered off Amazon for me?" It's like the doorbell for Cristos at the front
There you
door. I'm the most minimal person on earth. I don't know. I can't name the last thing I purchased.
I would say
You
maybe,
know that?
I might be reaching here, but maybe it was Cristo's Waken Steak.
Yeah, honestly, I'm trying to think like. Got shoes recently, but like other than that, I'm a simple man.
I love that, man.
That a little, I think about like I'll end it real quick with this.
Please.
I almost think about the Joker. My man said like a little gasoline and a few sticks of dynamite, and it's just good meat and some cheese and bread, a couple of quality things, and watch how everyone goes nuts, and
That's really fun. That's really cool. Yeah, I
and
remember that
just
line. Yeah,
people are gonna like a genuine product done well, and for me, if I want to buy something, I don't buy much, but I buy something of quality and try to enjoy it. That's the only thing I can think about is when I want to spend $1, I want to spend it on something that is gonna nourish me, whether it's for a good beer.
yeah.
Get that bottle of wine first, and just feel comfortable for a moment, and be happy with what you spent your hard-earned buck on, because they don't come easy these days, and whatever you decide to give it up for, you should get some sort of reward out of.
1,000%, brother. You that is mic drop right there. Mic drop
Thank
material,
you.
brother. We're gonna end it with that, man. Thank you so much for coming on,
It was
brother.
a real pleasure.
No, the
I
pleasure
never
is
could
all
have
mine,
imagined.
man. Yeah, thank you. Before we jump out of here, please, Cristo, take a minute. The floor is yours. Tell people where they can find your business. What you got going on?
Okay.
What's next?
Shrimp po'
have
boys for Lent. A little seafood for Lent. Those are
There you
doing
go.
well. People like that. Cristos is at 1290 Broad Street in Bloomfield, New Jersey. If you cut through the Connie Chung rest area, you're directly spit out at Cristos. if you're coming southbound, you save that $2.
There you go. You're right. I didn't think about that.
So that's where we're at. Like I said before, we're arm in arm with a ton of small businesses. All right. There's a dispensary across the street. There's a barber shop next door. The park that's directly behind Cristos was built by the guy who built Central Park. So come enjoy a little bit of New Jersey architecture and history, a little something on our side of the river. A nice day outside with these fall days. Come enjoy a nice sandwich and just enjoy the neighborhood. Holston's is down the block where they famously shot that.
The Sopranos.
Yeah,
my buddy works there.
Grab an ice cream and enjoy what's really becoming a really cool small community that I just have been welcomed into with open arms. And Brookdale and Carmine's Barbershop, all these people have really helped me out beyond belief. And I couldn't imagine just throwing a dart at a place, which is essentially what it was like for me to move into Bloomfield, and actually landing somewhere that like wants you there, So I just want to thank that community so much. And, as always, my family, just because, I might as well. I couldn't be here. Not a word would be out of my mouth and into this microphone if it wasn't for the wife at home watching the kids and you for this opportunity to put a spotlight on, small businesses, New Jersey entrepreneurs, and everything we've discussed here and you've discussed on other episodes. Thank you so much.
Wow, man. Thank you. First guest that ever said that to me, and I really appreciate that because, this is a labor of love that I do here. And, just those kind words gives me a little bit of more motivation to move forward because, it is something I'm very passionate about to tell people's story, but I love to see people win more than they lose.
Yeah.
And I want everybody that sits in that chair with me to walk away and continue to win and be great at what they're meant to do in this life. And do it with passion, do it with enthusiasm, and do it with a good, clean heart.
Yep.
Knowing that you lay your head on that pillow at the end of the night and you did it for the right reasons and you did it with the right intention.
Yeah.
That is what I see in you and in your mind of business, your mind of gems that you have dropped today. So again, you just came fresh out of your business right over here to do a podcast. You're like 10, 11 hours deep. You got all this energy. Thank you.
Thank you, man.
From the bottom of my heart for doing this. It's greatly appreciated.
We're going to say no losses, only learning. Get out there and make shit happen. All right.
I love it. I love it. Perfect way to
Thank you.
Cristo, thank you. Thank you so much. Guys, that is a wrap on episode 37 of I'm an Artist, Not a Salesman podcast. If this podcast inspired or moved you in any way, please subscribe to our Apple, Spotify, and YouTube platforms by typing in Luis Guzman, I'm an Artist, Not a Salesman, and clicking that subscribe button. Please make sure to follow us everywhere for further content and updates. And I'm thankful for every listener. I pray you have a blessed one, not a stressed one. Peace.
Thank you. Thank you so much.